Hey curious people, I'm building a Raspberry Pi car, but why? I titled this video The Idea, and I really think that that's the point of this first blog, is to explain myself and what this project's going to be. The one that's sitting right behind me. We're going to be talking about it for the next couple of weeks, so hopefully it'll make sense. The reason why we're going to build a toy car is to explore the brain. This passion that I've had for the past 15 years, this desire to understand what makes brains work and whether or not we can get a computer to do that same thing that we're born with, that magic trick that allows us to navigate the world. So this toy car comes into play because if you're going to try to understand brains and intelligence, one of the core tenets is the brain exists. All brains exist to generate behavior. And if you're going to have something in the real world, then it needs to address this and generate behavior. This might even be why Elon Musk feels that the Optimus robot at Tesla is extremely important, because you're going to have to crack artificial intelligence to have a humanoid robot in the real world. And that's the same for this car. That's the real reason, is to start building a very simple remote control car driven by a Raspberry Pi, and then move past that, make it able to control itself, become remoteless or autonomous. To drive on its own though, first we have to do a few things, and that's going to be the first couple sets of videos. We have to build a chassis, we have to get the motor set up, build a gimbal for a camera, and give it a single eye. Later videos, I'd love to talk about eyes, because they're a fascinating component of the brain and how the brain actually generates and processes the world and where human vision starts. But let's start. We have to build a car, so let's look at that. Let's build a car. Welcome back. So that's the first part of the project. We set up a chassis, we set up some motors, we got a bit of a test rig going, because the idea will be to figure everything out and then start implementing the wiring when it actually has to be standalone and drive itself. But first things first, it seems to work, and all of the motor controllers seem to work, so that's good. Next step, we're going to add in the camera gimbal and get one of these guys to actually sit on there, and hopefully that will be great and simple. But you might get to watch me mess up, because invariably there's going to be issues with the setup, and we'll get to learn how to build a project like this and how to deal with some of the issues commonly found there as we go. And then we'll get into the real meat and potatoes of the robot car project, because once we have a chassis and cameras and it can drive on its own through VNC, we get to add AI and learn a little bit about that and different ways to construct that. So follow along. This is going to be a hopefully interesting journey. So we'll see you in the next video.